Hey guys, what's up? Lumpy Ice Cream here.
And the Tim.
Today we are commencing our look at the last 8 seasons of Doctor Who.
Yep.
And in preparation for the 9th series.
Yes.
This was going to go up on Sunday, but we decided to look at the previous... he wanted to rewatch the episodes.
Yeah, because I hadn't seen them in ages.
I had them pretty fresh in my mind, but it was nice to watch them again and get a little perspective on them.
Yes.
So we're going to be ranking the episodes and in our own different opinions. So I guess we're counting 2-parters as one.
Yep.
But we're listing our favourite part of the one first, but we'll talk about it.
It's a very confusing system, I know.
Yes. So number 10 for me is Aliens of London and World War III, with the second part being the stronger in my mind.
Yep.
It's a stupid episode.
Yeah.
The Slitheen are stupid.
The Slitheen are cool.
No, they're not.
They're terrifying, though.
Cannot stand them. They go from practical suits, and then when they're running, they do CGI, and it just does not look good.
I can agree with that.
I don't find them menacing at all. I mean, they've got these big baby eyes.
Without the friggin' baby faces, they would be.
I found the
terrifying.
CG ones more menacing than the
practical effects. Like I know it's early New Who, so the budget wasn't gigantic like it is now. But
exactly.
They don't really look that great.
Yeah, and
I mean, to me, they look pretty good. Like they look decent for the budget they had and stuff.
Yeah.
But as monster suits, they just don't really. Yeah.
Exactly. The farting is a big issue for me. I just don't think it's funny. It doesn't suit the dramatic kind of feel that the second part has. I maybe would have liked it more had that not been a factor. But, I just hate this episode. So, what's your number 10?
I don't know.
You don't know?
No.
You're not even going to wing it?
Nope. Not even gonna.
Come on. Give us...
Not even gonna. I can't even think, like... I can't even rank them. Like, I just... What if I rate the episodes out of 10?
Okay.
Right.
Alright, well, what did you give this...
The Aliens of London and
stuff?
Yeah.
This...
Well...
Shite.
It's not the best episode, but it certainly isn't the worst ever.
I'd agree with that.
Yeah, like it does have its moments where you're like, this is a cool episode.
It does.
But overall, it's not a great episode.
No.
Or 2-parter for that matter.
No.
It would have worked better as just a single-parter for that matter.
Yeah.
So I would give it a 5.
Is that overall?
5 overall.
Yep. I'd probably say the first part is a 2, with the second part being a 4.
Yep.
Overall, though, I give it a 3.
Right.
Because...
Split the difference.
Yeah, I can't stand it. So, number 9 is Rose. It's nothing special. I can't say it doesn't have a rewatchability factor because I've watched it about 15 times.
It is a good episode.
It's very funny. It's humorous.
It's a really nice way to be introduced to the Ninth Doctor as well.
Exactly. The speech he gives to Rose, when you know how we were talking about the Earth revolving speech. That's one of the best speeches Eccleston ever gave. It's really upsetting that things had to go down the way they did, and he left the show after only 1 season. I think part of the reason I don't like it as much as I probably should, is I've seen John Pertwee's first story, Spearhead from Space. This is basically a modern retelling of that. It has the Autons. It's just kind of like the modern day version of that story with a few elements.
Right.
I mean, that was like a 6-part story. So this is like the condensed version with a lot of modern things thrown in.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they're not exactly the same, but...
Yeah, I see where you're coming from.
Yeah.
Like, I haven't seen the episode, like, Spearhead from Space, or whatever you were talking about.
Yeah.
I haven't seen that, but, like, I want to say that this episode kind of has, like, a classic series feel.
A little bit.
Like, it doesn't... I don't want to say, like, it feels
it's probably
like...
the Autons.
I don't want to say that it
anything.
feels like a classic episode,
I mean,
because, like, it's the first episode of New Who, so of course it's going to have just a little bit of a classic feel.
Yeah, I mean, like,
but
the Autons probably are more of, like, you wouldn't really get the Autons now. I feel like if...
That's why I feel like they got them out of the way then.
Yeah.
So they wouldn't have to...
I mean, they did bring them back in the 5th season.
Yeah.
But I hate them in that because they're completely different. And... Yeah, no.
Just think of them as an offshoot of them.
Yeah,
Think of them
it's just kind of...
actual Autons.
But, so, yeah, I give this episode a 4. Just because I can watch it, but not really for the right reasons. I mean, I can have a good laugh at it.
Yep.
But, I don't know, it just kind of feels like, for an episode that, in essence, is supposed to get you hooked on a show, it doesn't do that. Like, if this was my first forte into Doctor Who, I would probably not even tune in for the next episode. There's a YouTuber out there called Papa Ken, and he does Discovering Doctor Who. He only got into the show sometime before the 50th started, and he had said that he'd tried to get into the show before, had watched this episode. It was the 3rd time he had watched the episode, and the previous 2 times it didn't get him excited for the next episode. It wasn't until The Unquiet Dead where he actually kind of got into it, and then with Dalek he really got into it, and that cemented him as a fan of the show. But this just, I mean, if people who probably aren't as open-minded as Ken was might have just seen that and then just thought, you know, this isn't good. It's not good for an opening story.
No, I wouldn't say it's not good for an opening story. Like, it does, like, for me anyway. Like, if it were my first time watching the show, I'd be like, oh yeah, okay, this is kind of interesting. I'm interested in this character, these characters, and I want to see more of them. So if it were my first time watching the show, I would tune in for the next episode. Yeah. But yeah, as you said, it's...
Yeah, it's unimpressive.
Yeah.
So what do you rate this out of 10?
I rated it a 6.
6? Alright. Yeah. I just want to clarify that my first New Who episode wasn't actually any Season 1 episode. It was Age of Steel. I didn't even know the show had gone off the air and then come back like that. I mean, I can't remember however old I was in 2006.
I didn't know either. Like, I got into the show in 2005. Like, and actually watched the first episode when it first aired on ABC. And, like, I was a kid at the time, and I'd watched reruns of the classic series, and was kind of interested in those, and would talk about them a couple times with some friends. But overall, I never really got the plot or anything of any of the classic episodes. So then this new series came along that was serialized, 13 episodes a season, and I was like, oh, this is cool. But, like, I was a kid, so it was more like, I'm gonna watch this because nothing else is on. So yeah, I enjoy watching the episode.
Yep.
And yeah.
Okay, moving on to number 8, The Long Game. This is a kind of boring episode for a lot of people, kind of myself included. I think the reason I rank it probably as high as I do is Simon Pegg. He pulls off a really good villain. I kind of wish to see him in more roles like this one, because I think he nailed the frick out of it, and it's just kind of like it is a filler episode.
Yeah.
I mean, and then it just kind of sets up for the finale. So I'd give it a 4 again. Did I give Rose a 4 or a 5? Whatever. Rose gets a 4. This gets a 4.
Yep.
I just think because Simon Pegg is just so fantastic in this story. What do you think?
Well, I didn't really pay that much attention to this episode.
Yeah.
Like, it's not, for me, it wasn't really an episode that I could just, like, watch and be like, yeah, this is engaging and stuff.
That pretty much sums up Series 1.
Yeah.
A lot of the episodes are like that.
It was more like just watching it and being like, oh, yeah, that happened. Turns away for a bit. Oh, nothing happened.
Yeah.
The ending was funny, though.
Yeah, I guess it for people who could engage with Adam, I couldn't.
I couldn't either. Like, I'm not saying that I liked his character or anything, but but like the ending was pretty funny.
Yeah.
Just that time goes by just like that, and that was pretty freaking funny.
Yeah,
and it's like, sucked in, you're shit.
Yeah, he is. It just feels like wasted space, really. Not that I would want him sticking around or anything.
I feel like the only reason they put him in was so they could have that single joke.
Probably.
And that's it.
Yeah, probably.
This is the only reason he's in there. So I would give this episode, like, I don't know, 3.
3?
3.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, moving on to number 7, Boomtown.
Boomtown, yeah.
This is an episode I had always hated until I rewatched it, like last year or whenever I rewatched it. And it's actually a fairly decent filler story.
Yeah.
I think it does fairly good at the Slitheen story. It actually feels like they've got some character to them, as opposed to just, we want to blow up the Earth to make a profit.
Yeah.
It does a good job at giving Mickey a bit more character, because up until this episode, he doesn't really do much.
Yeah. Mickey does really come into his own in this episode.
He does, and it's something I'm glad they're doing with New Who, is they're trying to give the companions a bit more character, because it's something we didn't really see in Classic Who. I think the closest we got was potentially Ace, and I think that's why she's probably my favourite companion, is because she had, and that was just at the tail end of Classic Who, and they were just starting to do that, and it's something. New Who is give and take, just as much as Classic Who was give and take. Sadly, we did get the companions. Mostly were just damsels in distress and all of that. But nowadays they got a lot more character, and
but like my one complaint, and probably will always be my one complaint with New Who companions, is that whereas the first two, friggin' Rose and Martha, they were like just normal people, just like thrown into this.
They were normal. But
then the companions after that, they just seemed like a puzzle to be solved, and it's like I don't want companions that are puzzles to be solved. It really
came in with Moffat.
I want companions that I can identify with.
Yeah, it came in with Moffat. That's why I hate Amy. That's why I hate Clara.
It's not that I hate Amy and Clara.
Well, I hate Clara more than Amy. Amy was tolerable for me, but Clara I just don't like.
I like Amy and Clara. I can't really say that I hate any of the companions. Like they all have their good points. They all have their bad points. Yeah. And just for me, I can't hate any of them. It's just that sometimes it's like, I don't even hate Rose anymore. Like, I used to really hate Rose, and now I don't, because, like, I realize that I don't hate her, I hate what they did with her.
Yeah.
And,
like, I don't care what the scenario is, whenever they try to do a romance between the Doctor and a companion, I will always hate it. Because it's not the way it should be. Ever. In the classic series, they had a rule with... Because Peter Davison at the time was the youngest Doctor, the youngest actor to play the Doctor, he was not actually allowed to touch Janet Fielding and Sarah Sutton because it would hint at... some people might see it as sexual tension. Which, I guess in retrospect sounds a bit, whatever.
That just makes it... like, when that happens, like, that's just... Honestly, not touching makes it just seem like more sexual tension. Honestly.
Kinda. But, like, hinted a romance kind of thing. And now, nowadays, they snog and everything. They, like, go full on. And... I mean, a lot of people see it as romantic, but then you actually look at it, he is 900 years old. He's a freaking alien.
I mean, it could be considered romantic, but, this is the Doctor we're talking about.
Yeah.
It's
stupid.
He's the Doctor, he does stuff.
It's honestly why I'm against New Who. One of the reasons why I prefer classic.
Right.
And... I can prefer elements from one or the other, but that kind of is the nail in the coffin. For me, I don't like when they do that. It's probably why Donna is one of my favourite of the new series companions.
I do enjoy Donna.
It's because she didn't have any romantic feelings towards the Doctor.
She kind of did, but like they were very like really, really downplayed. And it was, but yeah, it was more of a platonic relationship between those two.
And
they did have their moments where it was like, this might be a little bit romantic, but otherwise it was like, yeah, these are two buddies just traveling around doing shit.
And it's only because like I don't care if companions get into a relationship or they have the companions' boyfriends as part of the story. It's funny though because I mean they've done that 3 times now in the new series. You've got, or like majorly to a major point. You got Mickey, you got Rory, and you had Danny.
Yep.
Funny thing is, in all 3 of those scenarios, I prefer them to their love interests. I don't know why. I just like their characters more. Rose was an utter bitch to Mickey.
Yeah, that is true.
She would flirt with basically every male character that came onto the show.
Yeah. And
I'm glad that, as weird as it was that Boom, Mickey and Martha are now in a relationship and married and all of this.
Yeah.
As weird as that was, that kind of popped up.
I felt like the Mickey and Martha thing was just because, hey, look, here's the only 2 black characters we have. Let's put them together.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, I didn't see anything to hint at that at all.
That was weird, but I was like, Mickey finally...
But other than that, I do actually like the idea of Mickey and Martha.
Yeah. So, basically, he gets a little bit more to do in Boomtown.
Yeah.
Back to Boomtown. And,
he takes out his receipts as well. It's like... I'm gonna go... Rose is like, yeah, this is a normal hangout. And Mickey's just like, well, here's all my fucking receipts I have. You've been a bitch on these many occasions. Making it rain.
Yeah. Then there's like, the dinner scene, which starts off very comedic and all of that.
And it gets real.
It gets real.
Yeah.
I feel that Blondfell Foch Passamaday Slivine, boom, is a character in this as opposed to just the Slivine
to just like
token villains like they used to be. So I'm going to give this one a 6. What are you?
I gave it a 7.
7?
Yep.
Okay. Yep.
It's a good episode I can watch, like, over and over, and still enjoy.
Yeah, exactly.
Mickey's receipts.
Alright, number 6, The End of the World.
Yep.
This is, feels like a big budget classic Who story. You've got aliens all over the place, and not laid back kind of, or pulling punches aliens. These are full-blown aliens, like ridiculous freaking aliens. You got a little blue pixie imp thing. You got big bird head guy. You got trees. You've got freaking
face of bow
robot guys. Face of bow. It's awesome. It's wacky awesome.
It's really cool.
You got little blue men, Oompa Loompa men.
Definitely a good episode.
Suits. It is. Then you got Cassandra.
Voice Jedi.
It seems like most of the villains in this episode, their motive is like a profit.
Yep.
Money, and it's kind of like just a generic filler episode, but it's a good filler episode.
It's a good generic filler episode.
Yeah. Again, going back to if I was watching this, I don't think it would necessarily be enough to hook me like other shows might do.
It would hook me more than Rose did.
Oh, yeah. It would. But then again, like if you're just watching the show, it might not necessarily it could kill it for you. Maybe for those people who are just impatient, like, no, I don't want to devote time to this. I don't know. But
there's a scene in this episode where Rose is like on like a balcony kind of thing, looking out at the earth, and she's like, "They're all dead now."
Yeah.
And it's like that was real.
It puts it into perspective.
Yeah, it really puts into like this whole time traveling thing into perspective. Like you're traveling to times where everyone you know is dead or either dead or not born yet.
Exactly. And
it's like, shit, this is real stuff.
Yeah, which they never really did.
Which is one thing that I do enjoy, like in the first series. And, like the couple, like first, second, third. First, second, third,
fourth was more. I mean,
fourth was more silly.
Series 1 to 4 are kind of more soap opera, kind of drama, domestic kind of episodes.
What if the Doctor and the companion got into this situation?
Whereas whereas like the Moffat era is
they're more tense, and
more dramatic, and
more drama driven.
Sci-fi and like complicated. Look how complex I can be, which pisses a lot, and myself included. I hate how complicated Moffat has to be. Yeah. He has to try and overcomplicate everything. And
it's like you see this little thing in this episode that was in there for like 5 seconds. Here it comes back in a big way.
My favorite episode of all time is Tomb of the Cybermen. That is a story that everyone needs to watch. In preparation for the role of the Doctor, Matt Smith watched that episode, and that's where he got the bow tie from. That's where he got inspiration from. And that is probably one of the least complex stories out there.
Right.
They're on a planet, they're trying to find the Cybermen and discover all about them. Shit goes down.
Yeah.
Simple.
Sounds like I need to watch it.
Moffat's era is just so complex. Everything needs to be complex. Timelines.
It doesn't feel like none of Moffat's seasons feel like you can just like jump in and watch from any episode. Whereas the other seasons kind of had that thing where you can just jump in any episode and start watching.
Yeah.
But yeah, with the Moffat episodes, you definitely need to have watched the entire season to know what's going on.
Not so much Series 8.
I think
Series 8.
Series 8 kind of went back
a bit. Yeah.
Kind of went back to like a little bit more, like not more, but less. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this, and went a little more. Look at this.
Yeah.
Look at this.
And
look at these two things separately. Now look at them together.
Yeah. Hopefully that's the kind of... He goes for impact, and he doesn't want to focus... It's kind of like... Well, I wouldn't say it's quite like the Fantastic Four movie, where that was trying to focus on where it's going, but never really got there. This, it overlooks everything to where it's going, and then kind of leaves everything else kind of mediocre.
Yeah.
I mean, the reason Time of the Doctor was as convoluted as it was because they had all their money on Matt Smith is going to come back for another season.
Yeah.
They tried, and he just didn't want it, so they're like, shit, we've spent all this time building up, and now we have to put everything into this one episode. And hopefully they've learned from their mistakes. But this end of the world, you've got the end of the world.
Yeah.
But it's not big and
it's not like a
grand
massive
spectacle. If Moffat had
a hold of it, then this would have been massive thing.
It would be.
It wouldn't be the second episode of the season.
I didn't
it
mean
probably
Moffat
would be the second
it.
episode of the season, but
yeah.
But
so I give this episode a 6.
I give it an 8.
8?
Yeah.
Alrighty.
Because I really enjoy watching it, and Cassandra just makes me crack up.
Yeah. I used to live down there when I was a little boy.
Just good episode.
Yeah. Alright, so number 5, The Unquiet Dead.
Mm-hmm.
Again, this was an episode I never liked growing up. Rewatching it, I loved it. It's got a really nice dark tone to it. You've got...
Which is funny because Series 1 mostly has like an uppity, fun tone.
Yeah,
kind of.
Exactly. Yeah.
And all of a sudden you just go into this really somber tone.
Yeah, this is where it kind of gets real, I guess. Yeah. Like Rose had been in danger before, but this is where the Doctor kind of he doesn't see any kind of hope out of the scenario when they're locked down in the morgue.
Yeah.
Not a whole lot of substance to talk about with this episode, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. It's it's kind of an episode of morals. Again, the Time War comes up.
Because, as
as
it does in this season quite a bit.
Which the Doctor feels responsible for, or because, it was between his race and the Daleks, he feels a responsibility to help anyone involved with the war.
Yeah.
So he basically says, take the dead bodies and then I'll take you to a planet. Rose is against it, it's immoral, and this is where the Doctor kind of butts heads with her.
Yeah. I do like when the Doctor and the Companion have conflicting morals.
Exactly. It's one of the stronger points, which again, it comes down to that element is better in new than it is classic. Because, the Companions are kind of shallow. Not all of them, but I can probably name more shallow Companions than there are ones with character, whereas New Who, not so much.
Yeah.
Until really Clara, I think, is pretty shallow, and she's just a plot device. And even more shallow in Series 8, because you take away the plot device.
Yeah.
You try to give her character, but I feel like they have to bring in another character to try and give her some character, which is Danny Pink.
Yeah.
Because really, the only kind of thing she does in Series 8 comes from Danny.
Yeah. It's just another case of a female character needing a male character.
Yeah.
To get some character, and it's like she doesn't need Danny to have character.
No.
They could have given her character without Danny.
They tried, but I think that cemented my hate for Clara more. Was the fact that she was voicing a lot of concerns that a lot of people had. Oh, he's too old, and I felt that wasn't, right to do.
It's just a matter of writing.
Yeah.
And stuff.
Yeah. So I don't know if I said, but I give the end of the world Unquiet Dead.
Unquiet Dead. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thought we were talking about Unquiet Dead for a minute.
7.
Yep.
I'll give it a 7. What do you...
I also give it a 7.
Give it? Alright, that's 7s all around. Number 4, Father's Day. I think you said it best when we were watching it. It would have been a great series finale.
Yeah. It does have that series finale feel.
Yeah, not necessarily a Doctor Who series finale, but like if it was like another show.
If it were like a relatively chill season.
Yeah.
And then you had all of a sudden this episode come out of nowhere for the 13th finale episode, it would have had an impact.
Oh yeah.
But not to say that it doesn't have an impact.
Oh no, because it does.
But yeah, it has a real impact.
Yeah, it does. This was actually the first episode I'd seen of Series 1.
Mm-hmm.
It was just on television one day, and I'm like, oh, cool, okay. So, it's kind of begs the question, why don't the Reapers show up more?
Yeah.
I mean, whenever you have a villain like that, why the purpose of them showing up is explained. It's weird that they don't show up ever again, especially with the events of the 50th.
That's why the Reapers are literally my number one villain to come back.
Yes.
Yeah. Definitely.
Because, like, you have Day of the Doctor, which changes time.
Yep.
And then you have Time of the Doctor, which changes time again.
Mm.
So, you know.
Yeah. And, like, an opportunity, it is a really big opportunity to bring back the Reapers and give them, like, a little bit of an updated look. Like, they don't have to look exactly the same. They don't have to look, they can look, like, slightly more terrifying.
Oh, yeah.
You can probably, like...
Especially with, like, updated CG.
You can even, like, give them, like, subtle, like redesign them, like, drastically and probably, like, have them just be, like, sort of these really subtle things there.
I don't know, I love their look.
Yeah, I do like their look, but I'm just saying, like... I don't know what I was trying to say with that. I was trying to say something like... Give them a subtle redesign, but make it a drastic redesign. I don't know, just redesign them a little bit.
Yeah.
Bring them into the later season, because I feel like the later seasons are missing that edge.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean like, I don't know what, but like the feels you get from this episode. I mean, I think Rose is probably at her best in this episode.
Yeah.
She actually feels like a character, and I don't hate her in this story. This is, probably putting a nail in the coffin for all the other stories, because you know what I'm going to rate them, and I'm rating this a 10. Because, I mean, it's just a great story.
Yeah.
Probably one of my favorites of New Who. But I give a lot of New Who stories 10 out of 10.
If I were to make a compilation thing of some of my favorite episodes and put them on a DVD pack to release or whatever, then this would be like the number one.
Yeah.
Yeah. And one of my issues with it is that Rose doesn't seem to realize that she's doing something wrong, but also that is like a real thing.
Yeah.
Like she doesn't realize the impact of saving her dad would have. All she realizes is, oh, my dad's gonna be alive. She doesn't realize that saving her dad changes time drastically.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not sure who can say if that someone would do something differently in her situation. If I could draw one criticism with it, it's the fact that, Jackie hands her baby self.
No, her dad hands her.
Her dad, okay, whatever. And she just takes...
Even though earlier the doctor
made it
say,
clear. Don't
touch the baby. Why did I sounded more like Peter Capaldi just then. Don't touch the baby!
Yeah, but, that's probably my nitpick.
For fuck's sake, Rose!
That's probably my nitpick of the whole thing.
Yeah.
But, yeah, so, I presume you give this a 10?
I do give it a 10,
Okay, cool. So, moving on to number 3. The Empty Child and The Doctor Dances.
Oh.
This is an example of how... This is why I hate Moffat now, because this just shows how good he can be.
Yeah.
And, I mean, this has the elements of a classic Who story. It's got that suspense, that horror.
Yeah.
And
it does have, like, Moffat's thing of, oh, look at this small little thing. Now look at it come back in a big way!
Yeah.
With the nanogenes.
Yeah. And, another, Moffat trope is something you don't pick up on until you rewatch it. And you're like, oh my, like, there's this scene going on, and, in the second part, where, they're listening to the tape of the child speaking, and Dr. Constantine's interviewing the kid, speaking to the kid, and it's playing over and over again, and all that, and then the Doctor, Jack, and Rose are talking, and then it's revealed that the tape has ended,
and then they turn around,
and the child is right there.
That was a even rewatching it, it's still a fucking terrifying scene.
And then they do that again with the typewriter.
Yeah.
This kid is typing a letter, and you don't pick up on the fact that the kid who was typing the letter is sitting literally right next to Nancy or whatever.
The older kid,
whatever. And the typing is still happening.
Yeah.
And then...
It's like, oh, fucking shit.
Yeah.
I'd forgotten that scene was in there.
Yeah.
And, like, as soon as like, Nancy was like, who's typing? I was like,
yeah. Whoa.
Fuck.
Yeah. I mean, it's genius storytelling, which I miss from Moffat.
It's good storytelling, and it's like...
Not that Moffat hasn't written good stories now.
It's like, Moffat, what happened to you?
But I think I'd struggle to find a 10 out of 10 story from Moffat now, whereas the 4 he wrote before taking over the show, I think... I'd actually say Blink is probably the weakest one he wrote, but then again, I hate the hype behind Blink. I'm not sure if I hate the episode itself. I don't hate the episode, I think it's a perfectly fine episode. But... I don't know if the criticisms I have about it just come about the fact that it's like usually like the second episode on people's lists of all-time stories. And that's not a new Who compared to classic Who thing, because one of my favorites of all time is Genesis of the Daleks, and that's number 3 on a survey they did in Doctor Who magazine. I disagree with 1 and 2, and 1 is Caves of Androzani, which is a classic story, a classic Doctor Who story, the last of Peter Davison's era. I disagree with both of those being greater than that story. Blink wouldn't break my top 10 New Who stories, so I don't know if it's conflicting to me that it gets as much hype as it does.
Yeah.
Because personally, I think it's the weakest of Moffat's original 4. I think Silence in the Library is a bit better, and then Girl in the Fireplace is a lot better, but this is his best one that he did probably of all time.
Yeah.
But we'll definitely find out as we
rediscover,
I guess. So I'm giving both of these parts a 10 out of 10.
Yeah, definitely.
And collectively 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
It's an episode I can rewatch again and again and still be creeped out at.
And you feel for Nancy as well.
Exactly.
Because, like, not only is, like, at the beginning you feel for her because she's lost her little brother. And it's like, oh, that's actually a really shitty thing. And it's the fact that it's in World War II is just that little bit more heart-wrenching.
Yeah.
And then later on you find out that, whoa, Jamie's her son. And it's like, that gets even more because Jamie, like, to her, Jamie died not knowing that he was actually her son.
Exactly.
And it's like, oh!
The way she talks about the child. It gives nothing away.
Yeah.
You know, you don't even get that little sliver that, okay, this is, you know, her brother until later, and then it's her son. The way she first talks about him, and the way she talks about him in the house.
Yeah.
And the fact that she's helping these kids out, I can only presume because of what she's gone through.
Yeah.
Powerful episode, and
really it's a really thought-provoking episode.
It is. So number 2, Dalek.
Yeah.
Now, little backstory on this episode. A lot of people will be familiar with Big Finish, which is an audio company that does Doctor Who audios. It came about, I think, sometime after the television movie. They've done a lot of stories. They're still going now. I think they're acquiring quite a few licenses from New Who. I think they're doing some stuff with Kate Stewart and all of that. I'm personally not going to listen to that because I don't like Kate Stewart as a character. More on that when we get to Series 7 and 8. But one thing they did was called Jubilee.
Yep.
Which was written by Rob Sherman, who wrote Dalek.
Yep.
They're very similar, but they're very different.
Explain how you mean.
Okay. So, with Jubilee, it's a 6-Doctor audio with an original companion from Big Finish. I'm trying to remember her name. Crap. It'll come to me soon. But she's an older companion. She's 50s. That's how old she is.
Yep.
So it's really interesting dynamic, as opposed to, like, usually, you know, you've got young 20 to 30-year-old women.
Yep.
As the companions. It's kind of like you've got this. It's kind of like a really. It's in a different dimension. It's really confusing. The TARDIS tries to land, but something goes haywire and then just kind of lands. Basically, it's explained in the story. Spoilers for this, by the way, but I recommend going and checking it out if you haven't. When the TARDIS landed and it went all haywire, it also went 100 years in the past to a Dalek war, which happened in 1903? Yeah.
Yeah.
So the Daleks invaded then, and the Doctor fought in a war. Yeah. I think the companion's name is Eleanor Smythe? I think.
Yep.
So they fought in that war, and then it changed basically history. So that Britain is basically America. There's a British president and an American prime minister, and basically, you know, Britain is like the country that runs the world.
Right.
And this guy's in charge of all of it. And he has the last Dalek. And it's locked up, and they're trying to get it to speak for the Jubilee. And where they're going to execute it. So you got that element there. And Companion shows compassion to the Dalek. When they land there, the Dalek tries to kill the Doctor like it does in this story, but it can't. And that's basically where the similarities kind of end. Right. You've got a few of the lines that are the same. So this is... they've got similarities, but they're very different.
Right.
And it was really interesting listening to that audio. I personally prefer the audio. But this story is still very good.
Yeah.
It's very emotional in the end. I mean, I still get a little weepy-eyed with the Dalek at the end.
It's like I'm feeling for a Dalek. What
the fuck? I mean, you've got the douche, Henry Van Staten, he is a freaking colossal dick.
Yep.
And,
your standard rich white male.
yeah. He owns the internet. And I think probably one of the best parts of the season is when the Doctor comes face to face with the Dalek. He goes from complete and utter fear, something you hadn't seen at that point in the season. He goes from being completely and utterly terrified to glee. He is mocking the Dalek, and then he goes to realization. It hits him that, you know, he's the last of his, and the Dalek is the last, and it goes through so many emotions. Just that scene is one of my favorite all-time New Who scenes. Yeah, I don't know what else I can say, but 10 out of 10, obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah, I presume.
I'd give it a 9.5.
9.5.
Yeah.
All right then. Okay.
Not a complete 10 for reasons I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah.
All right.
9.5.
So number 1, of course, is the finale, Bad Wolf and Parting of the Ways.
Yep.
I think Parting of the Ways is the better part. Massive mystery. You know, you've got so they've got in a game show. And what's going on here? And then it's the Daleks. It's the frickin' Daleks. The Emperor of the Daleks.
Yeah, the Daleks out of everyone it could have been.
Yeah. But, like, oh my god.
This is the Doctor Who season finale. Who else could it be?
Well, at this time... You know,
at this time, who else could it be?
At this point. But, the regeneration scene... It's deep, impactful. I think one scene that gets me almost every time is when, you know, the Doctor's setting up the Delta Wave, and they're all like, you know, we can't get it in time. And then the Doctor's all excited, Rose, you genius! And then they go into the TARDIS and it's like, press that button there, and the Doctor runs out, and then he just stops, turns around, and with his sonic screwdriver, sends the TARDIS home, and then the scene with the hologram, the Doctor's giving the message through the hologram, and then as Rose runs to the console, you know, the hologram continues, and then at its last time, it just turns, and it's like, I actually felt emotions.
It's like the Doctor,
I always do.
In the short time that she's been traveling with him, the Doctor knows her well enough to know that she would, like, run to the console.
It'd be kind of hilarious, though, if she didn't, or she ran to the other side. So it's like,
and, like, the hologram just turns the other side. And it's like... okay.
But yeah, that's like a how it should have ended thing. But, I mean, the emotions in this episode, kind of a Deus Ex Machina at the end.
Yeah.
But whatever. I'm sure everyone who shipped 9 and Rose gets a squeal at the end.
Yeah.
But I mean, yeah, I do think it's the best episode of the season. Probably make my top 10. I'm not sure. I keep saying that to a lot of episodes, but I don't know. Maybe that's a list for another day.
I think I spent, like, 5 or 6 years never seeing Parting of the Ways.
Really?
Like, for 5 or 6 years, I'd always miss the episode when it reran on TV, or fell asleep when, like, people were watching it. It was just one of those episodes that I had not seen, and then actually watching it for the first time, like, in 2011, I think it was, I got really emotional. Yeah. Because I'd never seen that regeneration. Yeah, and even then, at the time, I was not the biggest fan of 9. And, like, watching that episode, I was like, I'm gonna cry now. Goodbye.
Yep.
And, yeah.
Okay.
Good episode.
So we're going to run back through, well, I don't need this, but we'll run through the episodes in their order.
Yeah.
And kind of like we did with our 2014 movies, we'll name the biggest problem it has and the best scene.
Yep.
And so yeah, we'll go Rose. Best scene in... Oh, what did you give? Bad Wolf.
Oh, 10.
10. Okay, that's collective and singular as well?
Collective and singular, yep.
Okay. Alright, so best scene in Rose. For me, it's the... that whole scene from when he's going down the stairs and, you know, they're going down the stairs and it's like, you can't just go swanning off. Yes, can. This is me. Here I am, swanning off. See ya. And,
Yep.
And the whole, they're walking and they're talking about, you know, the Autons, and then it ends in that speech. It just kind of sums up who the Doctor is for the new viewers. And for that reason alone, that's my favourite scene of the episode.
Yeah. For me, my favorite scene, like just for the fact that it's a funny scene, like just when. Like, I think Rose is either on the phone or she's just talking and the Doctor's just doing his own thing.
She's making the coffee.
Yeah, and he's just walking around. That'll never work. He's gay and she's an alien.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
He's just doing his own thing, and it's like, Nine, I love you. If I didn't love him before, that would have made me love him.
Well, because Doctor Who is a massive tonal shifting thing, we'll do funniest scene and the best just kind of serious dramatic scene. That would be my favourite.
Yeah.
Comedic
with
scene.
Second favourite being the episode, the scene where he's talking about the transmitter. It needs to be big. It needs to be out in the open, like right in the middle of London. It needs to be massive and circular. What are you looking at? What?
What is it?
What?
Oh, fantastic!
It's
so
just,
good.
It's just Nine. You're a fucking idiot.
Yeah.
So yeah, best serious scene would be when he's talking to the Nestine consciousness, and he's trying to help it and stuff, and he's misunderstood because it's like, you've come to threaten us, and it's like, no, that was just a last resort. No, I'm serious. I want to help you, and it's like, oh.
Yeah.
That was a really upsetting scene to watch for me.
It was, yeah. It's very upsetting. Biggest problem, I actually have 3. Is it 3? I think so. The tone, it's just kind of, you know, goes along at a kind of steady pace when really I don't think it should have. 2, the line of dialogue from Rose where she says, I'm going to have to tell his mother he's dead in relation to Mickey. Because then later we get told that his mother's left or been dead for God knows how long, and he grew up in the care. Day. Well, no, because everyone came back at the end of that.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. And he's been living with his grandmother, so... I mean, it bothers me. It's obviously one of those problems where, you know...
They just overlook
things, but then you've got to stick to continuity in a way. Yeah. Which Doctor Who has never really done well.
I know Doctor Who is just, like, notorious for not sticking to continuity.
Which is why
I number of cases.
Day of the Doctor so much. that is a big problem.
I know it's been brought up a couple times before, but the fact that in one season in the classic series they had 2 explanations for Atlantis in one season. And
John Pertwee. Oh, so that, and what was my other one? The scene where Jackie is surrounded by the 3 bride Autons, and it takes forever for them to even try to shoot her. Why were they in the windows like that? all of the other ones have broken out and since been wandering. I'm going to assume for probably 5 minutes, maybe a bit longer. So why weren't they activated? There was no particular reason. I mean, but that, and then they just stand there. They decide to drop their fucking hands, not at the same time, but just, nah, nah, nah. What took them so long? They shot, that one shot fucking Clive so fucking easily. They were like, you see them all, they're shooting like that, like, you know, they're waiting.
They were just like, should we shoot her? It feels like she's a supporting main character. Click.
And why was it the women Autons that were having trouble shooting?
Hidden sexism?
Yeah. And then that kinda can be applied to the first scene. They decide to karate chop Rose instead of shooting her for whatever reason.
Really, and
I mean, when that one gets stuck in the fucking elevator,
yeah,
you know, I would just been like, you know what, I've got a fucking gun in my hand, but whatever.
Let's just bring it down to Autons are fucking idiots.
Yeah. Yeah. For some reason, the fact that it's just now a hole in their hand kind of bothers people. As opposed to the classic series where it like dropped and then an actual gun was there. Or did it come out? I don't know. But yeah, they're my biggest problems with it.
Right. I can't really say I have problems.
Oh!
Yeah.
And the fucking scene in the restaurant. No one freaks out until Rose says, "Get out."
Shitty extras. Let's just put it down to shitty extras.
Literally, this guy just shot a cork into his head. This guy's just spat out,
said cork.
He turns his hand into a fucking fly swatter, smashes the table, and they get into a skirmish. No one fucking...
They don't leave.
He pulls his head off. The head talks. One guy screams. It takes Rose to actually fucking pull a fire alarm to get everyone out.
I think that's more down to, like, people wanting to watch things. Like, oh, that's cool.
I think wish everyone in that fucking building would have died.
I think they kind of thought it was like a street performance.
Like everyone,
I don't fucking know. I'm trying to make sense of it, and it's not fucking working.
Like I wish everyone just would have ran out of the building, and then all at the same time collectively got hit by a fucking bus. That's what I like to think. That's how I live with myself.
And even it even makes like a bowling pin sound.
Yeah, and the fact that, as far as I know...
Then you have that shot from Final Destination with the blood splash from the guys.
Them being Autons does not make them superhumanly stronger. How did he break down a metal door if he's just plastic? Like, I'll take one of these action figures, probably Juggernaut, because he's the biggest, and I'll smash him against steel, and I don't think it would do much.
No.
Again, these
alien plastic.
Anyway, so... Anyway, yep. Biggest problem for you? Do you have one?
No.
No?
I can't really think of problems.
Okay. End of the world. Funniest scene.
End of the world. Funniest scene. I don't... Any scene where either Cassandra says, "Moisturize me," or any part where the doctor goes, "I give you air from my lungs."
Yeah.
Especially when he breathes, like, at the tree chick, and she's like, ew.
More where that
How
from.
intimate.
I would say that entire scene where all of the aliens are just walking on to the ship, Rose is in just like, what? And the doctor's just like, he's loving seeing all these aliens. And then Cassandra comes aboard and she just shows, this is the last remaining ostrich egg. Records say it had a wingspan of 50 feet and blew fire from its nostrils. Or was that my third husband? And then wheels out a freaking jukebox. Records say this was an iPod. That's my favourite scene.
Best
my
scene.
funniest scene.
Yeah.
Right there. Do you say any scene would moisturise me? Or?
Any scene with moisturize me or air from my lungs.
Okay. Alrighty. And best scene.
Best serious scene would be when Rose is lamenting over like people being dead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, I agree with that.
Yeah.
And
again, it puts things into perspective.
Yeah.
Like these people are time traveling to places where everyone they know is dead.
Yeah.
Or unborn.
Yeah.
And, yeah. It really makes you think.
Yeah, it does. All right. Biggest problem, or just a problem that bugs you?
A problem that bugs me. It's a plot. Like I never really can follow like what's happening.
Yeah.
Like who's the antagonist?
Yeah.
I don't get who the antagonist. Oh, it's Cassandra. Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
Cassandra. Right. Well, but still, what's happening? Someone explain to me what's happening in this episode aside from funny shit.
Yeah. I'd probably say the scene with the fans.
Mm.
I mean, the Doctor kind of takes his time a little bit when he wouldn't really need to.
Yeah.
Like, and then when Jade burns and, you know, she's dead and he's standing there and I'm not sure what he does.
Mm.
Like, I've seen someone explaining off as he slows time down somehow. Like, because he closes his eyes. Things get slower. I mean, I think it's just a dramatic thing. But then he just takes one step. And then that's it. Like, what happened? At the speed those fans were going at, no one would be able to take one step forward and pass through them.
Yeah.
So, like... And
again, this is down to shitty writing.
Yeah, but I think what possibly could have happened was if Jade needed to die, then she could have still died, but just had the Doctor pass through safely, and then she burns and dies after the Doctor pulls the switch.
Yeah.
Like, that's probably my biggest problem with it.
Yeah.
Alright, so moving on to The Unquiet Dead.
Mm-hmm.
Funniest scene.
It's not really a scene, but like funniest thing
funniest
about the episodes is that every so often Charles Dickens just says something from one of his books.
Yeah.
It's like there'll be a really tense situation or something, and all of a sudden he just says a line from one of his books, and it's like Charles. I really hope Charles Dickens was actually like that.
Yeah. I think the funniest bit for me...
I wish all authors were like that.
...is all of them, like, the bits when they just take a dig at Cardiff.
Yeah.
For no reason. Like, when the Doctor lands there and you're supposed to go to a certain time and all of that, he's like, well, we're not in this year. I don't care. We're not in blah, blah, blah. I don't care. We're in Cardiff. What? And then when they're going to die, it's like, this is it. I've been to blah, 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 and I'm going to die in a basement in Cardiff. It's like, wow, okay.
The producers and the writers just fucking hate Cardiff. Let's be real.
Yeah. Best...
It's because the show is filmed in Cardiff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Best scene...
Best scene. Oh. I don't know. Like, there's so many really good scenes in this episode.
Yeah. Or best part. I'd probably say just the Doctor and his sympathy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all I can really say.
Yeah, I agree.
Biggest problem?
Big problem. Like, is that a problem? That's probably a problem, but not
I don't
really
know.
a problem.
I don't know. Shut up.
That's a new word, probably.
Yeah.
It's gonna be on a T-shirt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think I have one.
I don't know.
I guess it just comes down to pacing.
Mm.
But that's not even a problem. That's just a little nitpick I have. I
Yeah.
don't really have a problem with it. Yeah.
Mm.
Although I guess the way they just kind of don't explain, it's like, I think she was dead from the minute she stood under that archway, and then they don't really, it's just kind of, what?
Okay, is dead.
So why did she need to be dead from the moment she stood under that archway? Because she didn't.
I think it was like, so, it was just something the doctor said.
Maybe.
Rose wouldn't feel bad or something. I don't
Maybe.
know. And it does like kind of go back to like that whole thing of the doctor lies.
Yeah.
And like he was probably lying about that to make Rose feel slightly better.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe if he'd given like a little face like
just
that or
turned
something.
away and been like.
Anyway. Moving on to...
Or been like, no, I'm totally kidding. I just fucking killed her, man.
Anyway. Aliens of London.
Biggest problem? The episodes.
The farting.
The
The farting is what bothers me.
Yeah.
Funniest scene. Not so much funniest, but just in perspective. The first scene we get a fart.
Yep.
Is in the stairway.
Yep.
And it's not funny until we get to the next shot when they're walking up the stairs. There was a guy standing there.
Right behind him.
Right behind him. He farted on a guy.
And he just had to, the guy just had to stand there and take it. It was like...
So, and then best part of Aliens of London.
The doctor, when the military guy like shoots the pig, and the doctor's like, no,
yeah,
it was scared.
Yeah,
it was scared.
And that showed that the doctor, has compassion for nearly every
even
species,
a fucked up little
even a fucked
pig.
up pig.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And plus, that pig was adorable.
It was. And then
the pig should have become a fucking companion, man. It did. I would pay like $10 more for a season if it had that pig in there.
The pig was Clara. Let's face it.
It was a plot device.
Yes. Okay, so
yeah, fucking pig. I wanted it to be a companion.
Shooting forward to World War III.
Yep.
Biggest problem, the Slovene. Although I guess the problem with Aliens of London is the fact that you have this cliffhanger and then a preview for the next episode immediately after. I
hate it when they do that.
Yeah.
Like,
at least after this episode, they put them to the end of the credits.
Yeah.
So you had a time to switch off.
Yeah.
But I guess the fact just the Slovene being there is a problem for me.
Oh, hang on. Funniest scene. I'm gonna go back to funniest scene for a second there.
To World War III. For World War III.
For World War III.
I'd say it's when when all of the Slovene are around the phone, and then the guard walks in, and they all just go. or when the guards have the doctor backed up against the elevator. It's like, if you're gonna back someone up against the wall, don't back them up against the lift. See ya.
Lol.
Or the bit when the doctor has the alcohol and he's holding it, and just the Slovene one's like, excuse me, I don't know what's so funny about that line of dialogue.
What did you say that she would?
Triplicate the flammability? That's what I said. You're making it up!
Well, worth a try. That was a good scene.
Yeah.
It's funny. Yeah, funniest scene was that scene.
Yeah. Best scene? That I think it's when the Doctor and Blomfell-Foch-Passamadeus-Levine, Margaret Blaine, they're having when he opens the door and they have that little back and forth.
Yeah.
It's like you trapped in your box, and then just that kind of tense scene there.
Yeah,
I'd say that.
Good scene.
Oh, back to Aliens in London. I think one of the funniest scenes is like when the Doctor's in the TARDIS and then Rose walks through the door and is like, alright, I lied, I went and had a little look, and then talking, and then she's like, my mum's here. He's like, oh God, don't you dare make this place domestic. I was a murder suspect because of you. See what I mean? Domestic. So I bet you don't even remember my name. It's Ricky. No, it's Mickey. No, it's Ricky. I think I remember my own name. You think you know your own name? How stupid are you? That is great.
Good
so yeah.
game. Yeah, definitely.
So yeah, best part of World War III. Best part of World War III.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay.
No idea. None idea what that is.
Yeah. Dalek. Biggest problem. I did it again. Biggest problem with Dalek. Don't
worry, I'll put problem on a t-shirt.
Shut up. I guess if I had to have a problem, it would be, and Papa Ken always hates this as well, the unnecessary sacrifice, where they just kind of always explain them off as, it's like, you can't hurt it, or someone has to try. Like, many people just tried before you. They had rifles. You have a pistol? Don't bother, just run.
Yeah.
That's a nitpick, but...
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be my problem with it.
Again, I can't think of a problem.
Or Adam.
Yeah,
well.
that's one problem.
Yeah.
Like, hey, look, these two characters are British. Let's have them flirt.
Yeah.
And even the American
That's always going to be a problem with me when Rose interacts with another guy, ever. That's a big problem for me. Because, yeah.
Look, conventionally attractive white male.
And then she just kind of goes to just, you know... Whenever Mickey's in the episode, she just kind of goes back to, you know, him. Like, nothing.
Yeah. That's why Mickey has so many receipts.
I bet Mickey just has, like, a sense when Rose, like, ever flirts with another guy. It's like, oh, for fuck's sake!
He sneezes.
Yes.
Like, he's just sitting there, and, like, it's not even in time. Like, it's just, what is it? What's the word? In succession?
Yeah.
Like, every time it happens, he's just like,
oh, she had it again. Anyway,
and then he just writes it down in his little book. January 10th, Rose flirted with another white male.
Okay, so, funniest scene in Dalek.
Funniest scene in Dalek.
I'd probably say when he's going through all of the weapons, it's like broken, hairdryer.
Yeah.
Broken.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. And then my favourite scene, I've already said, is the scene with the Dalek, the confrontation between the Doctor and the Dalek. I mean, it's a I don't know why they decided to call the episode Dalek. I mean, it's just like, fucking, why?
It kind of spoils it.
Yeah.
Like, a lot.
A lot. But yeah, that'd probably actually my biggest problem with the episode is the fact it's called Dalek.
And it's treated as like a friggin' mystery. Yeah. Like, what is this thing? What is this thing?
It can't be a Dalek.
What is this thing that the asshole, typical American rich guy, white male has?
And you can't even say that new series fans, like people who are watching the show for the first time, they wouldn't know what a Dalek is. Because a Dalek is instantly recognizable.
Mm.
If people don't know, like, they did a survey, and I think everyone they interviewed, all of the kids knew what a Dalek was.
Mm.
And so it's not even that it can hide behind that, because it can't. But whatever.
Yeah, stupid title.
So, moving on to the long game. My biggest problem is Adam.
Yep.
Because he's pointless.
It's just there for this joke.
Like, they were going to do, like, in the script, or not the script, but the original plan was, the reason Adam did what he did and got the spike in his head and got all of the information and sent it back in time was because he was trying to find the cure for cancer because his father had it.
Mm-hmm.
And that probably would have tried to give him a bit more character. But even then, I hate him, just, especially, like, when the doctor, after it's all done, the doctor's, like, walking and he's like, well, no, it's your fault because you were in charge. I'm like, no, it's your fault because you're a dickhead. So that's my biggest problem with it.
Yeah, I'd say the same thing.
Yeah.
And then, funniest scene is just at the end, when the doctor's just like, Stop it! Stop doing that!
And then Rose is just like, you know, Doctor, stop. Okay, thank you. I'd probably say Simon Pegg when he's going all around the corpses and he's all like, check it, double check it, triple check it, quadruple check it. I was like, what? Oh, I think that's it. But yeah, that's probably, or just any scene with Simon Pegg.
Yeah,
because he's hilarious.
He's a funny
favorite
guy.
Scene. There's not really a serious moment in it. I guess so. We'll just skip that.
Favorite serious moment is obviously when the doctor just keeps going like that. Because that's the most serious thing. It's taunting him for a stupid decision he made.
Yeah.
It's like you got a stupid looking tattoo.
Yeah. Also, what's the purpose? What's the purpose of it freezing puke? Wouldn't that make it more painful?
I don't know.
Like, throwing up liquid, I'd think, would be better than throwing up a solid, right?
Yeah. Throwing up solid would be fucking awful.
It would choke you.
You'd die before it got up.
You
probably never want to drink ever again.
Could you just imagine him going out, like, on, you know, at night to a club, drinks too much, and then just froze up?
Just a block of ice comes out and just lands on the club's dance floor.
No, it lands in the drink.
No, but it'd be even funnier if he's, like, dancing, and then a block of ice falls down. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how, what's his face regenerated?
What's his face?
Forgot which doctor it was.
Colin Baker.
Colin Baker.
Yeah.
That's how Colin Baker regenerated.
Slipped on a block of puke ice.
He slipped on vomit ice.
You heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen. That's what the new audio is going to be.
Yeah.
Anyway, moving on to Father's Day. Biggest problem, it's not so much a problem with the episode, it's just the Reapers, they need to come back.
Mm-hmm.
The episode specifically explains their purpose for being there, and why they don't show up ever again.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. So, especially in the Moffat era. So, with that being said, I'd say the funniest scene, just for the pure purpose of saying it, Rickroll, before Rickroll was a thing.
Yeah.
I mean, that, like, I did not know it was even in there until rewatching the episode, when I first went on a massive mission to rewatch every episode, except for that unmentionable 2011 Christmas special. Oh, which, good God, we're going to have to rewatch that.
Oh, yay.
Oh, I'm going to shoot myself. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm not going to be here for the Series 6, 7, or 8, or any future video, because I'm going to shoot myself in the frickin' head before watching that episode.
Okay, I can just replace you. It's all good.
Unreplaceable. Anyway.
Yep, you're expendable.
What are you saying? You're going to shoot yourself in the head too.
Are you sure?
Probably. Anyway.
Channel's ending after Series 5, I'm sorry.
Yeah. Anyway.
Good to have you all watching.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when I was rewatching the episode and it was in there, I thought it was my brother at the door playing the song. But then I'm like, I paused it and I'm like, it stopped. It's in the episode! And I had to pause the episode for like 5 minutes because I lost my shit.
Yeah.
But then, as I went to replay, it dawned on me that, oh my God, Rickroll wasn't a thing at that. And then I had to laugh for another 5 more minutes. That's my funniest part.
And he laughed until we actually had to rewatch it.
Yeah, and then I laughed again.
Yeah.
Anyway.
He's been laughing non-stop for 7
years.
For you? Me, funniest scene was...
Don't touch the baby.
Yeah, just that. Simply because I sounded more like Peter Capaldi saying it.
Don't touch the baby.
Don't touch the baby!
And,
Clara! Don't touch the baby!
Best scene.
What's Rose's dad's name?
Pete.
Pete. When Pete goes out to sacrifice himself.
Yes, definitely.
That was a really sad scene because it's like for like first time watching it for a bit I was like they're gonna change time and her dad and somehow they're gonna get out of this and her dad's gonna be alive. Yay! Oh no, he's dead.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's dead.
Okay.
It seemed kind of, but my problem with it would be the fact that it was so easily fixed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, then again,
like I do realize
I think you're falling into a trap where you're misunderstanding quickly and easily.
Yeah.
You have to understand that Pete doing that was the last minute decision. That was the last decision before anything.
I know, but like I just the fact that the car's just doing that outside the church.
Yeah.
Where it's not that wasn't even where he was hit.
No.
And it just bugs me.
Yeah.
It's like, why is the car doing that there when it could have been doing it a couple streets over where he actually was?
Yeah. And then you could have probably got a scene where Pete had to run there
while running away from Reapers.
The Reapers. Ooh. What if you had
Rose running after him with more Reapers?
What if it was like this scene where people were like, "You'll never make it. We'll volunteer as sacrifices."
Oh my God.
To the Reapers. Well,
it's like Pete's just like, I have to go a couple streets over, and I'm gonna be running from Reapers and shit. And then everyone's just like, you'll never make it.
Yeah.
And then like, even if it was like little Mickey just steps forward and is like, he's just like, it's fucking Rose. Just sneezes, looks over at baby Rose. The fuck, bitch.
No, I changed my funniest part.
What?
When the doctors are like, now Rose, you're not going to bring about the end of the world now, are you?
And the kid's like, I make no promises.
It's just the look she gives him is hilarious.
Which I might be.
So, yeah. I think that's.
But yeah, it would have been. It
Well,
just would have been really cool if
Yeah.
like people had been stepping forward and it's like,
Yeah.
we'll go along with you, bro.
Yeah, that would have been cool. Actually, damn! Now I want to see it. Ah! We'll make a fan edit. Okay, so
Make
I
a
don't know
fan
how. Anyway, empty child.
Mm.
Funniest scene.
Where the doctor's just at the table.
Yes.
All of a sudden, it's just
Thanks,
like,
miss.
thanks, miss.
Thanks, miss.
And then he's just saying all this stupid shit.
Yeah.
Like he's been there the whole time.
And then,
he's acting like he really is a homeless child.
Yeah, and then, like, when it's like, you took 2 slices, and then the kids like, ah! All the kids just laugh at him. That's fucking hilarious. So, yeah, that's, best scene.
Either that, or the scene where Doctor sees the cat, and he just picks it up, and he's like, one day, I'm going to find someone who understands what I mean when I say, don't run off.
Yeah. For me...
The fact that he's saying it to a cat as well.
I think
It's like, it's my cat.
the best scene for me would probably be the entire scene with Dr. Constantine.
Yeah.
I don't know, it's just when they all sit up. That, or just the entire conclusion to the episode.
I was just getting chills from Dr. Constantine's transformation.
Yeah. And then, biggest problem, don't have one.
Don't have one.
It's impossible for me.
Only problem is like the fact that Nancy disappears like a ninja.
Yeah.
She was trained in ninjutsu.
Okay. When rewatching these, I came up with this idea. Whenever anyone does that in a film, or TV, whatever, when, they're there for the one shot, it cuts to the character they're having a conversation with, when it cuts back, they're gone. Just pretend they've tripped over. They've just tripped and fallen.
It's especially funny in Batman movies.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's like the bit when Catwoman does it in The Dark Knight Rises, and he's like, so that's what that feels like.
And he just looks down.
Oh.
So it happens to you too. We're soulmates!
Anyway. So yeah, then Doctor dances. Funniest scene is how the cliffhanger gets resolved.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go to your room!
And then at the last minute, those would have been terrible last words. And then my favourite parts, or favourite scene, is let's choose the bit with the typewriter and the tape.
Yeah.
Because it's just terrifying.
Oh, back to the funniest scene. When the Doctor and Rose are dancing, and and all of a sudden they're on Jack's ship. And
Yeah.
like, oh, that's nice.
Most people realise when they've been teleported.
But you two.
No!
We were just talking! Didn't look like talking, didn't feel like dancing.
My funniest scene is when that old lady comes
Sit up, you're in the void!
I had to lie down for a second because it's when the
float
old
down.
lady comes up to Dr. Constantine, says, Dr. Constantine, my leg's grown back.
Well, there is a war on. Is it possible that you miscounted?
When I came into the hospital, I had one leg. There is a war on. Is it possible you miscounted? That is my funniest line of the whole season.
It's even funnier if you think that she probably believed that as well.
Probably.
It's like,
oh yes, of course. Let me count now. Yep.
1, 2,
what?
3. What the fuck?
Doctor!
Anyway. Wait a minute. Did that mean all the humans had penises?
No, because it recognized both male and female DNA.
I mean as the kid.
Oh my
The
god!
empty children. All of the empty children had 4-year-old penis. Oh my god, the guys did too. That's my funniest part. We can't rewatch those episodes again. Never. What a realization I have made. I'm going to send that to everyone. Oh my god. That is going on all of the Doctor Who fan pages.
It's going everywhere.
Anyway.
Everywhere.
Moving on to Boomtown.
Yeah.
Funniest part.
Funniest scene is when what's her name is like talking about how female Raxacorica can do shit.
Longfell Foch Passamaday Slivine.
Yes, her.
Margaret Bland.
And the doctor's just like, yep, I'll do that. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My favourite scene is the other dinner bits, like the only a killer would know that line.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's probably my favourite part as well.
Yep.
Of the episode. Biggest problem? I'd say that ultimately those emotional scenes don't mean anything because she was just stalling for time.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people mention that as the worst part as well, and I agree. It just kind of feels, oh, damn it. But anyway, yeah. So moving on to Bad Wolf. Holy shit. God damn. Funniest scene.
Any scene when any scene with Jack.
Yep. I knew it was coming up.
But you're completely naked. Where did you get that? You really don't want to know.
And the scene
like,
when he's
yes,
just feeling up the robot. I'm like,
oh yes, let's try something different.
Whoa. Whoa, Nelly. Anyway.
Robosexual harassment.
Best scene.
Any scene with Jack and the robot?
I'd say the whole final bit of the episode. Yeah. Alright, so
all the oh shit moments when when the Doctor and Rose both realize that you're playing for your life.
Yeah.
Like the Doctor's just sitting there like, oh, she's probably gonna have a great life on the outside. What are you guys talking about? It's gonna be great.
Yeah.
She'll probably get a recording contract or whatever, and they're like, it's a horrible thing to say. And at first you're like, okay, why are they so distressed?
Yeah.
And then, and you're just like,
whoa,
fuck.
Damn.
And the Doctor's just like, fuck. And Rose is like, damn. I don't know. It was just voted.
Yeah.
She got some of the questions. I don't know. That's how the game works.
Yeah.
And she's like, I don't know, this is just the most chill thing ever, man.
Yeah.
Like, and then, boom! Whoa! Fuck!
Damn!
Yeah, just.
Biggest problem, I don't have one, personally.
Yep.
So, yeah, Parting of the Ways, funniest scene. Doesn't really have many.
You know when they were trying to get, like, the TARDIS console open or whatever? They just try all these different ways.
I don't remember.
I don't know. I don't think I actually. I don't think I was awake for that episode when we rewatched it.
Were.
No.
Yeah, I don't think it really has a lot of funny scenes. I'd say probably the bit when they step out of the TARDIS and the Daleks are shooting at it, and it's like that force field can hold back anything, and then Jack's like, almost anything. I was like, yes, but I wasn't going to tell him that, thanks. Sorry.
Or just thinking about what if Rose went to the other side of the console and the hologram turned.
And then
okay, man.
My favourite scene is the regeneration scene.
Yeah.
Without a doubt. Yeah.
Definitely.
That'd be...
Pretty much any time a regeneration scene like is happening, then that would be my favorite scene.
That and the scene when the Doctor's, being all, smug to the Daleks and all of that, and then when it cuts to inside the TARDIS, he's like, shit, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I think it was Trilby who compared that to Genesis of the Daleks when he had the chance to kill the Daleks. He had the chance to end them.
Yeah.
And he didn't. So...
And I think I've watched at least that clip, and it does really have that feel to it.
It does.
Yeah.
And, I mean, those are probably my favourite parts of the episode.
Yeah.
So, we've been going for an hour and a half.
Yeah.
One thing I kind of want to do with these looks at episodes, is at the very end, we'll throw in a bonus Doctor Who topic.
Bonus Doctor Who topic.
Bonus Doctor Who topic. To keep it short and here, because he didn't know it was going to happen, I just got the idea halfway through the podcast that we should probably do that. We're going to rank the new series Doctors.
Okay.
To be, just so we're clear, that is the War Doctor.
Yep.
The 9th Doctor.
Yep.
The 10th.
Yep.
We'll also throw in the Meta Crisis. 11. 12. And, because I technically throw him in with the new series lot, the 8th Doctor. Mainly because I see a lot more new Who elements in the TV movie than classic Who elements. Yep. I mean, they've got the companion Doctor romance kind of scenario. Plus,
that's probably one of the reasons I actually enjoy the movie. So,
yeah. And he was literally in the new series, technically in a mini-sode.
Yeah.
So, just off the top of your head, who's the worst?
The worst. I wouldn't necessarily say he's the worst because he did a great job in the special.
I don't know who you're going to say.
Yeah, John Hurt.
John Hurt?
Because the War Doctor took away Nine's whole I fought in the war thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like for me, Nine was just very much the product of war. He went through all that in that regeneration because we never saw anything, and it was just assumed that 9 was the one that fought in the war, blah 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 blah, or at least 8 fought in the war, and they regenerated into 9 towards the end of the war. But yeah, the War Doctor just took away both of the both 9 and 8's thing of being special.
Exactly.
And yeah.
I'm the same as you, for exactly the same reasons. For those who do not know, Christopher Eccleston's role in the 50th was going to be the War Doctor's role.
Yeah.
He was in that role. For whatever reason, that didn't happen. I've heard countless different things, and I'm just not going to say what I believe happened. Or what I heard happened and believed to be fact. So, that makes me really hate the role of the War Doctor, because you have the 8th Doctor.
Yeah.
In my mind, it's always been in my mind 8 fought the war.
Yeah.
Always. 9 didn't even fight in it. At the most, 9 ended it.
Yeah.
At the most. 8 regenerated, and then 9 ended it immediately. That's what happens in my mind.
Yep.
This shits on that. Completely.
Yeah.
Moffat said that watching the television movie, he could not get a sense that he would fight in a war. You're basing that off one 90-minute episode. Or 90-minute TV movie, however long it was, where he had just regenerated. I mean, hell, in some of Moffat's episodes, the Doctor goes through shit when he regenerates and he's completely whatever.
Yeah.
And it just pisses me off.
Yeah. And, like, especially the fact that they had Paul McGann
Yeah.
for
They
Night
had
of
him.
the Doctor. He did Night of the Doctor.
And I guarantee you the only reason that exists is just for the purpose of having the War Doctor.
Yeah.
That's the only reason it exists. It doesn't exist to bring Paul McGann back.
It
doesn't.
exists so we have an explanation for the War Doctor.
It's like they're ashamed of what Classic Who is.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, but without Tom Baker, without John Pertwee, without all of that Classic Who, you wouldn't have David Tennant. David Tennant would not even be a name now.
Mm.
I put that to you, that Matt Smith wouldn't be recognised. Matt Smith would not be the actor he is now without Doctor Who.
No.
I have no problem saying that.
And,
Because it's true.
And yeah, they had Paul McGann. They could have used him for the 50th unless there was like something that prevented him from doing the 50th, aside from Moffat. Like, yeah, he could have been in the 50th. He could have had the War Doctor's role had Christopher Eccleston not been able to do it.
Yeah,
as he
all of
was
them should have been in it.
Yeah.
All of them. Because it costs money to get the archive footage that they used.
Yeah.
That actually cost them. It probably would have been less to pay the actors to do those roles.
Mm.
Anyway, one day we will... Because I'm going to presume you're at least like Day of the Doctor.
Yeah, I enjoy watching it. I do know all the problems with it.
Yeah.
I do accept those as problems, but it doesn't really stop me from like enjoying the episode.
Well, one day we might do an episode of that because we are completely on different ends of the spectrum. The only thing that's stopping me from putting Day of the Doctor as my most hated episode is that unmentionable 2011 Christmas special.
Mm-hmm.
That is the only reason it's not my least favorite episode.
Right.
Because for me, if I can rewatch something, which if I'm in the right mood, I can rewatch Day of the Doctor. If I can rewatch something, that makes it automatically better than something I can never watch again, which is that unmentionable 2011 Christmas special, which is what I'm always going to call it. I'm not going to call it by name.
Yep.
Anyway. Next on
next on the list.
Because I know what it is for me. So what you think, I'll just say.
Yeah, same.
Meta-Crisis Doctor,
Mm-hmm.
just because it's a plot device, and...
Yeah, I would agree with that.
So, I can't... The only reason that it goes above the War Doctor, the absolute only reason, is because I hate what the War Doctor is.
Yeah.
I hate its guts.
Mm-hmm.
And the only reason... Both of these I hate because they're in existence.
Yeah.
So, but...
I don't hate the Meta-Crisis Doctor. I think he was, he was okay.
Yeah.
But, yeah, as you said, he's just a plot device in the end, and just feels just feels like, yeah.
Yeah. So, plus I hate the fucking Dalek that shot the Doctor. It could have shot Rose, and we would have been done. I would have rejoiced.
I'm still very pissed off that fake thing, April Fool's thing that what's his face put up. Who was it?
Votes absent. Stephen McCullough.
Yep. Him.
Yeah.
I hate that the thing he said was false and an April Fool's joke, because I really want that.
I don't.
I want it.
I want less Rose. For me, the spin-off Rose got was Secret Diary of a Call Girl, because I can believe that shit. It's funny because Matt Smith was in that. That just makes it funnier. Anyway.
But yeah, if David Tennant came back for a spin-off, then...
Alright. So you agree, Meta-Crisis?
I agree, Meta-Crisis, yeah.
Next. Do you have one in your mind? Because I know.
No, I don't.
For me, and this is probably going to get me strangled by multiple people, the 10th Doctor.
Mm-hmm.
He is my least favourite of the main four, I guess, what people consider to be the new series Doctors.
Mm-hmm.
The main four. We're just doing the extended version. he's okay when I rewatch the episodes, but then when I think about it in retrospect, I don't really like it.
He's an arrogant prick.
That, and,
He's a funny and arrogant prick.
yeah.
And I like him for that.
At times too human.
Yeah.
Kinda gets on my nerves at times.
Mm-hmm.
Really, all that comes down to it is just the writing, most of the time.
Yep.
But I would say David Tennant.
Me from like 2 or 3 years ago is gonna hate me for saying this, but Matt Smith.
Ooh.
I mean, I like him.
Yeah.
I love Matt Smith. None of this is saying that I hate like Matt Smith, David Tennant, Chris Eccleston, or anything. I don't hate any of them. I just Eleven's cute and all. He's a precious little puppy, but he's a precious little puppy in a bow tie that fucks up people's lives and kills people without a second thought. Especially like that scene in the Good Man Goes to War.
Good Man Goes to War.
Yep, where Rory's talking to the Cybermen, and then just in the background you just see all these explosions, all these Cybermen ships exploding, and I think that's a cool scene and all, but then you think that he literally killed all those Cybermen. He wouldn't.
I think that makes him more powerful.
Do you think any other Doctor would have done that?
John Pertwee shot an Ogron in cold blood.
Besides that,
the Doctor.
I mean,
kills in situations.
I know, but
it's not. This is the false perception that David Tennant has put on, and that's why he is so low on my list. Everyone thinks the Doctor is a goody two-shoes now. The Doctor is anything but a goody two-shoes.
I know, I'm not saying that he is a goody two-shoes. I'm not saying that he's a goody two-shoes. I'm just saying that 11 does so much and, fucks up so much. And, I'm not saying that 10 doesn't fuck up so much as well. The Doctor fucks up, I know that.
Yeah.
But 11 just fucks up just that little bit more than 10 to me, that I just put him slightly lower on the list.
See, I that is the one thing I hate about David Tennant, is he is a goody two-shoes, and it has created the false image that the Doctor is a goody two-shoes.
Yeah.
He is not.
Yeah.
He killed the Cyber Leader in Earthshock. He has killed numerous times, more times than I can count. So...
Yeah, but I'm not trying to say that the Doctor is a goody two-shoes.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that 11 is not the precious puppy everyone makes him out to be.
Yeah.
He's a precious puppy that fucks up people's lives and kills a bunch of fucking things.
Yeah. And...
without a second thought.
Well, most of the time, it's not that he actually kills. It's kind of like that Batman logic. It's like, I'm not going to kill you, but I don't need to save you.
Yeah.
Case in point, dinosaurs on a spaceship. That. I guess now this is just in my head. A lot of people rip on the David Tennant regeneration and how he reacts to realizing he needs to do this to save Wilf and regenerate and all of that.
Yeah.
In my mind, he's already gone through that. Now, what I mean by that is, whenever the Doctor's regenerated before, he's regenerated into a new person.
Yeah.
The 10th Doctor's the only Doctor who hasn't. He's regenerated into himself.
Yeah.
He still knows what it feels like. In my mind, the Doctors kind of forget what it feels like.
Yeah.
I'm not defending it, because I think, what the fuck?
Yeah.
During that scene, it makes me angry. The only other real Doctor who's, I guess, put up a fuss about regenerating was the second Doctor, but that was more so the situation he was put in, rather than, the fact he had to regenerate. Yeah. The other Doctors just kind of accept it, so it was kind of like, stop having a bitch fit.
Hmm.
I mean, that's the way I only see it, but I'm not defending that action at all, the way he went. Anyway.
Then, next would be 9.
9.
9, I love 9.
Mm.
Like, yeah, I love 9.
Just
That's all I have to say. I love 9.
That's all you have to say. Me? 9.
Yeah.
He's just freaking awesome and freaking hilarious, and he nails all of the...
He nails the funny bits, he nails the dramatic bits.
Yep.
Just, Chris, I'm so upset you weren't in the 50th.
Yeah. From what I know, I believe to happen, it makes me hate Moffat even more.
Mm.
But... anyway.
Then, 10.
Mm.
Because, like, he's 10.
Yeah.
I like 10. I love 10. He's... and as I said with 11, 10 does fuck up a lot.
Yeah.
Like, the Doctor fucks up a lot.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that he's a goody two-shoes and he shouldn't fuck up. I'm saying the Doctor should fuck up because it's his fuck-ups that make him a good character.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I love 10. 10 just has... He has some really good episodes.
Mm.
He was the running doctor for my 2 favorite companions, Martha and Donna.
Mm.
And, yeah, just 10's great.
Okay. For me, next is 11.
Yep.
And I think people put it best that Matt Smith portrays an old man in a young man's body.
Yeah, that is true.
And that's something I have never got a sense with any of the other Doctors, at least the younger ones. Peter Davison is my least favorite of the main Doctors. Just because he's basically the classic version of David Tennant, but with not real much funniness to him. Peter Davison is quite bland and boring to me.
Yep.
So I think he's the best of the younger Doctors. The silliness does go a bit far and can get a bit irritating. But for me, when he gets serious,
yeah,
he is one of the best.
When he gets serious,
when he gets angry,
he's just an unstoppable force.
He is. I mean, I think
and that's one of the.
I mean,
that's one of those whole things of like he kills without a second thought sometimes.
I mean, just look at what he did to the Cybermen fleet when he lost Amy.
Yeah.
I think one of the most tragic things in the new series was when the Ponds left, and that wasn't even the fact that I had much. I mean, I'm angry at that because it tried to, Amy's gone, but what about Rory?
Yeah.
Because I care more about Rory than I do Amy. But the one thing that got me there was the Doctor's reaction. Yeah. And that's what always gets me teared up at that, is the way the Doctor's reacting to it, more so than the event itself. That's what gets me. So, not so... I mean, the silliness is funny to an extent, but then more often than not, it goes too far. So, that's what I'm saying there. Next on yours.
Next on mine would be number 1, is 8.
No, we've missed 12.
We've missed 12. 12, then 8. Okay, so 12. 12 is... he's funny.
He is.
He's funny. He nails the funny stuff. Just like Chris, Peter just nails the funny stuff.
Yeah.
He nails the serious stuff. I know he's only had 1 season.
Yeah.
But yeah, he makes a bigger impact, honestly, to me, a bigger impact than Matt or David did.
Yeah. For me, 12.
Yep.
For the reasons you just said. Now the reason... I'm going to sound like a hypocrite here until I explain myself. One of my favourite things about him is the humour.
Yep.
And a lot of people say, well, you were just saying that, about Matt Smith's humour, it goes overboard. the reason I love Capaldi's humor is because it's alien humor.
Yeah.
It feels like he is like a proper alien, which is something that really hasn't been done since Tom Baker.
Yeah.
Tom Baker was the last kind of Doctor where you felt this guy's a true alien. Or no, actually, I'd say Sylvester McCoy. And you get the sense that he's an alien.
Yeah.
Something that they haven't really done before. Eccleston didn't really feel like an alien or a human. He was just kind of in between.
Yeah.
You know, he was just him.
He was
Tennant was far too human for my liking. Matt Smith, again, was in kind of that same thing. He just felt like an old man in a young man's body, and that was like the closest thing to alien. I mean, you know, Capaldi is just alien.
Yeah.
You get the sense that he's an alien.
He's just full on an alien.
Yeah.
He's definitely. I think Danny puts it the best way in saying that the Doctor is Cloris' space dad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, I would like to see him lighten up in the next few seasons.
Yeah.
Not that I hate him being this kind of dry, uncaring guy.
Because it's very Scottish of him.
That's the way a lot of the classic Doctors kind of were. You know, at least the appearance of. That's what they kind of looked. You kind of
get the feel like in Series 8 about like how Moffat's trying to like. It almost feels like an apology for the 50th.
I don't think it's Moffat's influence. Kind of, because one of my favorite kind of things
it's still,
ever.
Even if it's not Moffat's influence, it still does feel like an apology for the 50th.
Yeah. One of my favorite things ever is it's a feature on the Blu-ray. Is they're at, I think it was an event for Deep Breath or something.
Yep. And
when Capaldi is asked, what monster do you want to see return? He says the classic Mondasian Cybermen from the 10th Planet. Almost immediately, Stephen Moffat says, you mean the guys with socks pulled over their head? You can see the anger in Capaldi's eyes. He wants to kill Moffat for saying that. You can see the hatred in his eyes with that. And, you know, it kind of makes me wonder, with Capaldi on the show, could he be having a little bit more pull in that department? Because with the trailers Series 8, we've seen classic Daleks.
Yeah.
They're going back to Skaro. We've got these classic Daleks there. We've got the Zygons.
Yep.
So, I'm wondering if it's possibly Capaldi saying, I want this, I want that. And the one thing he's saying is, if it's one person one classic companion he wants to return, it's Susan. And I would love to see that. So it kind of makes me wonder if this happening here is completely down to Moffat, or whether it's Capaldi.
It's Capaldi grabbing Moffat by the balls. Because
Matt Smith was kind of like the young guy who could probably be influenced a little bit easier.
Yeah.
Moffat is not Moffat.
Capaldi.
Moffat's anything but experienced. Anyway, Capaldi is this experienced actor. He's won an Oscar or something for directing.
Yeah.
So he has all of this knowledge. So, you know, you've got to kind of wonder how much pull is he having here.
Yeah.
Because I'm just speculating at this point.
Secretly, the real showrunner is Peter Capaldi.
I would love that.
Peter Capaldi as showrunner and lead actor. That'd be cool.
He's kind of said in an interview...
Even if he regenerated,
yeah,
then like keep him as showrunner.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's what I was just about to say.
Yeah.
He was interviewed, and I can't remember the exact words, but when asked about regeneration, I think he said, you know, whether it happens sooner rather than later, it could be sooner rather than later. I don't know if that's implying he could be gone this season, next season, whatever. There are also talks that, I mean, I don't believe a word of it, but 2016 we're not going to get a full season. We're going to get a few specials, which is what happened in the end of Tennant's run.
Yep.
I don't believe a word of it. I think Capaldi's going to be here for a good while, and I hope he is, because he's a true fan of the show.
Yeah.
Which I guess we haven't really had since David Tennant, because obviously everyone knows about Christopher Eccleston, how he views the show and all of that. Matt Smith became a fan. He and then I guess David Tennant was the last kind of true fan of the show. So him and Capaldi are like the fans. Capaldi more so because he's been, you know, there from the beginning, really. And he is the only new series actor, or new series Doctor of the main four, to be born before the show. So that's really interesting that, you know, obviously a lot of people were saying, oh, he's too old, and I wanted to wring their necks.
I think everyone did.
Yeah. I mean, it was frustrating that people now have a sense of what the Doctor should be or shouldn't be, and that's young. Because, no, the Doctor can be... It's like when I see all of these people saying, the Doctor needs to be a woman for political correctness. I'm like, no, the Doctor doesn't need to be anything. I don't care if they cast a woman. I don't care if they cast a black guy. I don't care if they cast an Asian. I don't care who they cast. As long as the actor's good. I mean, yeah, he's been a white male for all of his cycles. For me, the only reason I think they're not particularly doing it is because of the controversy it would create.
In my mind, it does feel like they are playing it safe, and
which is probably a better thing to do.
I'm not saying that it's a better thing to do, but I'm like,
from a market standpoint.
From a market standpoint, yes.
Because look what they've had here.
To a wider audience, it does pay to have a white male lead.
Yeah. I mean, you cast Peter Capaldi, a man who is, what was he, 50? He was 55 when he was announced.
Yep.
And that's a few months shy of what William Hartnell was when he had the role. So he's our second oldest Doctor.
Yep.
Main cast.
And then you get this whole uproar.
You get an uproar about the age. So... And I love what Peter Capaldi said. He came out and he said, I'm over 1,000 years too young for the role. So I love that.
Yeah.
Or over... Whatever. So I really love that he said that. You could just imagine the controversy it would create if it was a woman, or a black guy, or an Asian, or whatever.
Yeah,
and
if the Doctor were a woman or a POC, then you'd have just this massive controversy.
Yeah.
And like, I feel in the end, if they had cast, if they do ever cast a woman or a POC, then it would and in the long run it would pay off, because again they'd have another wider audience.
Yeah.
People who would who don't watch the show because the lead is always a white male would watch the show.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
And it's two things I hate.
I feel like I'd be slightly more interested in the show if the lead was not a white male all the time.
And it's two things I hate. The people who are really against it, and the people who are too much for it. Because you have the people who are too much for it are saying, it's the politically correct thing to do. And I'm like... Nothing's the politically correct thing to do, especially in terms of a character that needs to be cast. And then you have the people on the other end of that spectrum who says, oh, they just did it to appease the masses. They're the two people who really piss me off. I'm in the middle. I can... it's like we're always doing this. For it.
Always.
If they cast a black Doctor... I wouldn't care.
Mhm.
I'd love it or hate it.
Mhm.
I'd be neither.
Mhm.
It would depend on the Doctor and how it's written,
Mhm.
and if the actor's capable or actress.
Mhm.
And the one thing we've seen in Series 8, Missy.
Yeah.
I loved that.
Yeah.
Leading up to it, I heard, oh, it could be the Master regenerating a woman. I dismissed that immediately. I hated that idea.
Mhm.
And when it happened, I was like, I actually like this character.
Mm.
By all rights, I shouldn't, because it's everything. She's everything I hated in John Sims' Master. But I guess
that
because she's
was
a
always
woman?
the source of my confusion for like the fact that you actually like Missy is like that she's pretty much female John Sim.
Probably
Yeah.
because she's a female. That's why I can distance myself away from her a bit more than because John Sim's male. I can still associate him with the previous Masters, but because Missy's a female. Plus, she directly killed a lot of people.
Yeah.
And John Sim just kind of indirectly killed a few people.
Yeah.
Oh, well, a lot of people. But I guess John Sim didn't have that spark that a Master should have.
Yeah.
That, you know, they need.
Yeah.
I wasn't threatened by him. He seemed more like the Doctor than, to be honest, David Tennant did.
Yeah.
Missy, I was frightened of her. She was menacing, and yeah, I was frightened by her.
Yeah.
So that's why I like her a lot more than John Sim, even though they have similar mannerisms. I still think that the Master should be, you know, like he was in the classic series. You know, that's one reason I kind of hate Robot of Sherwood, is because the actor who plays the sheriff in there, he would have been such a great Master. Plus, he looks exactly like Anthony Ainley. Like, exactly! I was all like, I was scratching my head. I'm like, what? Anyway. So, moving on to number one, of course.
Wait, I was gonna say something.
Okay, go.
Okay, just real quick though. To me, honestly, I would prefer that the next Doctor not be a white male. Like, that's just my personal preference. I feel they do need a change.
For me...
But yeah, you've stated, I've stated. Yeah, I think we're done with this subject.
Okay. Alright, so, moving on to number one.
Which is 8.
Which is, of course, the 8th Doctor, Paul McGann.
Yeah.
Oh my god. He's so fantastic.
He's amazing.
He is. In the brief time he was in the show, 2 appearances.
Yeah.
One was a movie, one was a mini-sode. I love that mini-sode, but I disagree with what it is.
Yep.
It's only there so that the Doctor can regenerate, and that's it. And this is what cemented me wanting to punch Moffat in the face more than anything, was when this came out, people were like outcrying to bring Paul McGann back for another series. Moffat said no, because the only reason people were ranting and raving about Night of the Doctor is because I bought him back. Not that he's back not that you're not excited because you saw him. You're excited because you saw him return. Basically what he was going on about is, I'm great because I bought him back. It doesn't matter that he's back. I bought him back. He came back. He returned. You got excited for it. That's the only reason you loved that episode. That's all well and good. I have watched that thing about 50 times and loved it.
That's a really shitty thing for him to say.
It is. I mean,
wow.
Especially now that we've got like what the MCU is doing with the Netflix show.
Yeah.
why can't we have something like that for the Eighth Doctor?
Because Moffat would have to let someone else do something Doctor Who related, or
Exactly.
do more Doctor Who.
Exactly. Just piss off to Sherlock, focus your time in that, and actually give someone who can understand what the fans want. Because I don't think I have ever seen a joint thing like this. Like, pretty much everything Doctor Who related splits the fandom to a degree.
Yeah.
I don't think I've seen a single person say, oh no, I don't want Paul McGann returning. I mean, in that episode, even if for someone who hadn't seen
the TV movie
or anything, it would be amazing. I'm pretty much guaranteeing that.
Yeah.
Because I've seen it happen. Because Papa Ken, again, going back to him, he watched that and he loved the Eighth Doctor.
Yeah.
I mean, and I've listened to a few audios with him in it, and he's great.
Yeah.
I mean, he is personally my third favourite Doctor. Ever, hands down. That could change next season. I mean, I don't know. I could grow to love Capaldi more. But he's fantastic. For me, the 6 minutes that was, or 6 or 7 minutes that was Night of the Doctor was better than Day of the Doctor.
I can definitely agree with that, and that's coming from someone who, enjoys Day of the Doctor to a degree.
Hell, it was better than any of the specials from that little day and time of the Doctor.
Don't tell Moffat that.
I mean...
He'll tell you, no, it's because I brought him back.
Oh, that frustrates me so hard. I mean...
It's like, honestly, give us something more with Paul McGann, aside from audios.
Yeah, because, I mean...
Because, the audios, as far as I know, don't have that wide of an audience.
No, I mean...
there are some people...
It's essentially classic series fans that listen to them the most.
Yeah, because it's more of the classic that they enjoy.
I think it's only, this year that they've been acquiring some of the rights. Even then, they don't have the rights to do, full-blown ones with, Christopher Eccleston or David Tennant or Matt Smith. It's only the branch-off range. I think they can do Strax or something. I think they're doing something with Strax and the Paternoster Gang.
Yes!
And,
I'm not going to listen to those.
I
love that Gang.
Something like that. But, I mean, so... It's sad that audio is the only real format we can listen to Paul McGann on.
Okay, how about, even if Paul got, a series of 5-minute shorts on the internet, I wouldn't give a shit. I would watch them. I would love them.
I would still want more, though.
I would be the #1 fan of those, because I'm so fucking thirsty for Paul McGann.
I am too. Hashtag thirsty for Paul.
Thirst for Paul.
I mean...
Make a trend, guys.
I mean... around that time...
This is an extreme thirst!
I mean, around that time that episode came out, I mean, I would have agreed any format would have been great for me. But now that we're seeing formats like Daredevil, and it's successful...
Yeah.
Daredevil, I'm just going to say, Daredevil is my favourite MCU-related thing. Ever. Better than Avengers, better than Ant-Man, better than a lot of them. I think it's going to be hard to beat that for me. Because I think television format is much better than movie format. Backing that up a bit more, I don't particularly like any of the Dragon Ball Z movies. I think... they're just kind of
Yeah.
I don't really like any of them. I would take the anime, any saga, pretty much, over any movie. Probably with the exception of the Saiyan saga. I'm not the biggest fan of that. But...
Don't let anyone who's seen Dragon Ball Super tell you about that.
Do not fucking get me started on Dragon Ball Super. I refuse to watch that show.
Why?
Because, the animation style, I've seen pictures... It looks dreadful.
Well, it's a different studio. It's a new technique.
Speaking as someone who has just seen the latest Resurrection F, they're just basically rebooting those movies. They're retelling the events.
Yeah, that's true.
Why the fuck would I want to watch something on television that I've just paid money to go and see?
Anyway, back to Doctor Who.
Yeah, anyway. A rant on that later. I keep saying rant on everything later.
After I've watched Battle of Gods and Resurrection F, then we'll do it. We'll probably end up doing a rant about Dragon Ball Super.
Probably.
But yeah, anyway.
So yeah, television format. I mean, you've got these formats like Netflix that can do it.
Yeah.
And, you know, have them, I don't know, half an hour.
I don't know what the whole is the legal stuff or anything behind Netflix series. Like, do you have to license out your franchise to get it on Netflix?
I mean,
something? I don't know what any of that is, but Doctor Who is something that I think could do like with a. I mean, hell, Doctor Who is a spin-off of Doctor Who could do really fucking well on Netflix.
And hell, Doctor Who itself is on Netflix.
Yeah. The
actual show's on Netflix, so
are a lot of shows.
Yeah, I mean, but like...
Yeah, I know what you mean. But... God! So much rants.
It's... I mean, you can't tell me Paul McGowan wouldn't want to do it. He's about as thirsty for Paul as we are. Yeah, I mean, hell, I would fund this shit myself. I do not care at this point.
The BBC could put up a Kickstarter and I would be the highest fucking pledger.
Oh yeah, you wouldn't buy any Power Rangers shit
I
for
would
like months.
I would not buy
just, like,
any Sentai or Rider or Power Rangers shit for fucking years to finance this shit.
Oh yeah, but like, it just bugs me that
I'd drink it right up.
Moffat said that, and that's Moffat's mindset. I mean, you know...
Very quickly.
And he said that, you know, Doctor Who movies will never happen under his watch, and if they ever would, they'd have to be canon with the show. This is the perfect thing to do.
Yeah. You
right
could
here.
do a movie with Paul McGann that is canon to the show and have it tie into the next series.
Exactly. Or just have it by itself. Because I think the one thing he said was no one wants to go watch a movie and then watch the same show with a different actor.
Look at my favorite franchise ever.
Paul McGann. That would make it canon.
Yeah.
And now I reckon people would know the difference. Like, you know, I was watching a review of the Fantastic Four movie, and the guy reviewing it said that behind him, people thought that the movie was part of the MCU. And if he's worried like something like that would happen here, that they'd think that the movie would be part of the show and all of that, or putting Paul McGann in it, well, I'm pretty sure most people know now because of the special.
Yeah.
That, you know, I want Paul McGann!
We just need that picture of SpongeBob holding the giant jug. This is an extreme thirst!
Yes. Okay. So...
This very quickly went from a Series 1 recap to Thirst for Paul.
Yeah.
That should be the title. You should put in the title, #Thirst for Paul.
Yes. So that pretty much sums up everything.
That sums up everything. That sums up literally everything. We don't even need to sum up the rest of the series. We can just... That was it.
But we're still going.
Well, we're still gonna do it.
So, yes, Sunday we will be covering... The Christmas Invasion in Series 2. I'm going to presume you need to rewatch that as well.
Yeah, I'll probably rewatch it on my own time.
Okay.
So like
that would be for the best.
Because a lot of the time I can actually I connect to things more when I watch them by myself.
Okay.
As opposed to when I watch them with people.
Yeah.
Like when I watch them with people, I can talk about them and stuff, but then that distracts from actually watching it.
Yep. Yeah. Well, even though I don't need to rewatch them, I'll probably rewatch the episodes I love again.
Yep.
let's make this interesting. Can you think of another topic to discuss in the next episode?
Next
relating
episode, we will
to
discuss.
Doctor Who.
Next episode, we will discuss. I want to say companions.
I was going to say that too.
Yeah, companions.
We'll rank the new
Series.
series,
New series companions.
new series companions. Should we go through them all, or just a select few?
Just the main
companions.
ones. So just Rose, Martha, Donna, Amy, and Clara.
Okay. Yep. Or
all the combinations.
Yes, or I was going to say the TARDIS crew.
Yeah.
So Rose
and Jack.
Yep. So we should probably rank the dynamic of how they worked. So how Rose and 9 worked compared to how Rose, Jack and 9 worked compared to how Rose and 10 worked.
Yeah. That could be a fairly lengthy discussion.
Oh, I am going to rant when it comes to Rose, Mickey, and 10. Oh, good God, am I going to rant? So yeah,
that's it.
That's what will happen.
Yep.
And on a previous episode, I can't remember which one it was. I'm pretty sure it was our Fantastic Four review.
Mm-hmm.
We came up with the idea of childhood movies.
Yep.
That will be our first video when we return
to the regular podcast.
To the regular podcasts, which will be the 20-something of September, the Wednesday. It's going to be a Wednesday. We're moving the podcasts to Wednesdays for Doctor Who reviews.
Yep.
Also, because this was supposed to go up Sunday, because rewatching we couldn't, we're doing a special episode. So that's we'll get 3 episodes that week. We'll be doing a special on the Saturday before Series 9 airs.
Yep.
That special will be the Series 8 conclusion. Also, we haven't been very clear on what we'll be doing for Series 9. So I was thinking potential reactions to the episodes. We will not be showing footage from the episode for legal reasons. Plus editing reasons. We just like to record these and put them up, plus we're using the YouTube webcam, so that pretty much just uploads itself to YouTube when we're done.
If you could get like a headset kind of thing, so where we could watch it without the audio being in the video, then that would be
I think it's all good with audio.
Oh, okay.
As far as I've uploaded reactions to Doctor Who episodes before, and I haven't been done for copyright.
Yep.
I'm pretty sure the general consensus for YouTube is that audio is pretty much okay.
Yep.
Full-on video can get you copyrighted.
Okay.
Because editing is a nightmare, they will be full-blown reactions all the way through commentary. How that's going to work when I go to Townsville, I don't know. I've been thinking to myself, making content for the joint channel, even if we get co-hosts during that time period, could be a bit of a nightmare. So maybe we'll definitely discuss it, but maybe putting the channel on hiatus.
Yep, probably.
For that time. The problem is it's 4 months of that. I guess another potential thing we could do is Skype or Google Hangout, whatever.
Yeah.
So we'll when it comes round to that, we'll update you guys on that.
Yep.
But for the meantime, we'll catch you Sunday.
Hang on, wait, plugging time.
Plugging time. Oh God.
My channel is officially up.
Yes.
I have the first 2 videos up, which are basically the same video rebooted. That's right. I have already rebooted my first video.
Yeah.
And my review channel is also up with my first review.
Why don't you tell us about that awesome Facebook comment?
What awesome Facebook?
About what your content is going to be.
My good friend Joel. Hey Joel, if you're watching this, you trooper, you. Joel suggested my channel be just me rebooting my first video in different ways. And
You'll get recast.
that's serious. That's seriously a thing I'm considering doing.
You actually should.
Not like the main content or anything.
Maybe like once every month.
Once every month,
You
just reboot the first video. Somehow.
Like you get recast.
Anyway, I'm hoping my
turn into a black guy.
I'm hoping my next video will be up next week.
Next week.
And that will be a theory, which no one will be surprised that it's a Power Rangers theory, that I've told you about.
Yep.
So no spoilers for that.
No spoilers.
But it does have something to do with Megaforce and Super Megaforce. So if you have, if you don't like any of those, then that probably isn't for you. But it just might be, because there might be something about earlier seasons in there.
Yes.
So
tune in for that. Go subscribe to his channel if you haven't already. All three of our channels will be in the description. I have the one.
Yep.
He has two, and those will be in the description below. Right now, content from my channel is kind of scarce. Not a whole lot going on. The last things I threw up were the Marvel Legends reviews. Trying to hunt down more Galactus series figures. I don't want to review anything else until I'm done with the Galactus series. Please check those out. They're in-depth reviews, which I kind of like to do. I like to go in-depth.
Yeah.
I don't like to skip stuff over. You know that.
Yeah, I do.
You guys know that. I know that. At least I hope I do. So hopefully I'll have something up. Wrestling fans will obviously know SummerSlam was this weekend.
Yep.
Fun story, I actually filmed my reaction to that.
Nice.
However, I fell asleep halfway through the pay-per-view, and the recording was about 6 hours long. The actual show was 4 hours. So I had actually, I fell asleep. I wish I could have watched the recording back, because I really would have loved to have seen it. I think there are times when I wake up and go, holy shit, that was awesome! But yeah, so that didn't get uploaded. It was just kind of like a waste of time to upload. But I'm thinking of uploading, something where I review SummerSlam or something, but right now there's just not much point. The show's done. I wasn't that impressed with it. So I might review it, I might not. God knows when Arkham Knight videos are coming back. God knows if any of you care.
Probably never.
Probably never. Probably not. Drive is gone. When Star Wars Battlefront comes out, I'll be doing playthroughs of that. When WWE...
We'll be doing playthroughs of that.
Yeah. Well, when I come back from Townsville.
When you come back from Townsville, we'll be doing playthroughs of that.
So,
we'll call it that shit.
And 2K16.
Recently, Pokken Tournament was announced for the Wii U. So, it's coming out spring in 2016.
Yeah.
So, I'm possibly getting that. So, that might be a playthrough I might do.
Okay.
So, yeah, that just real quick.
Right now, Joel is in talks with me, my brother, not the Joel he mentioned earlier. My brother and I are talking about potentially setting up a gaming channel where he gets me to play some games. That could be interesting. He's looking to do YouTube as well as a gamer. He's going to get a capture card and all of that and become just like every gamer on YouTube ever.
Play Minecraft.
I don't think he'll stoop that low. Ooh, that's going to get some feedback.
How dare you!
One thing I've kind of been thinking in my head, because, I love making these videos, potentially in 2016, we could get some more content up.
Yep.
Potentially. Right now, we're just two guys who don't do anything in their spare time, pretty much.
Yep.
So, stuff could change if, we happen to get jobs or something. I don't know. Right now, my life is shit. Just right now. Not ever before.
My life is shit.
That just puts a different perspective
Yeah.
on the song. So anyway, guys,
We're finally going to say goodbye now.
we're finally going to end it, and
Yep.
we'll see you guys on Sunday or whatever day. Hopefully we get it up in time.
Yep.
So, alright guys, we'll see you Sunday for Series 2 recap and the Companions recap. Until then, take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye.